If you don't understand functions in Python, you don't understand Python. Functions are everywhere in coding interviews, in real world backend code, in automation scripts, and in basically every serious program. In this video, I'll show you how to define a function, how to call a function, how parameters work, how return values work, and simple examples that make it all click. So what is a function? A function is a reusable block of code that performs a specific task. Instead of rewriting the same logic over and over again, you define it once, then call it whenever you need it. Think of it like a mini machine. You give it input, it processes something, and it gives you output. In Python, we define functions using the def keyword. It's short for define and just looks like this. So how do you make a function? Here's what the basic syntax looks like. Let's break this down. Def tells Python you're defining a function. Greet is the name of the function. Then there's a set of parentheses for parameters. We'll talk about what parameters are soon. Next, there's a colon. The colon starts the function body. And the indented code is what runs when the function is called. You should know that nothing happens when you define a function. You have to call it first. So how do you call a function? To call a function, you use its name followed by parentheses like this. Now Python executes the code inside the function. We can see the output of this function in the terminal. It is hello world. So when it comes to functions, the define keyword stores it and the function call runs it. Next, we'll go over parameters. Parameters allow your function to accept input. Here's an example. Notice that we wrote the word name in between the parentheses. Now we can call the function like this. By writing the name of the function, in this case greet, and then passing in a value for name. And we get the output hello user. Here's what's happening. Name is a parameter, user is an argument, and the argument gets assigned to the parameter. So the variables defined within the parentheses in the function's definition, they act as placeholders for the actual values known as arguments that are passed to the function when it is called. You can have multiple parameters like this. In this case, we've decided to give the function two parameters. Since we have two parameters, we can call the function by passing in two arguments like this. As we can see in the terminal, our output here is 8. Parameters enable functions to receive input, making them flexible and reusable for different data. Okay, now let's go over printing and returning. Printing is not the same thing as returning. This is one of the most important beginner concepts. To visualize this, first let's make a function. This function will add two values, a and b. Now, let's store the result of calling the function in a variable called result, and then print the value of the variable named result. The output of running this code is the value 8. The return keyword sends a value back to wherever the function was called. Here's the key difference between print and return. Print displays something, and return gives the value back to the program. Without return, you can't store the result in a variable. For example, check out this code. Here's the output. First we get 8, then we get none. So why do we get none? Because the function did not return anything. So by default, Python returns none. And that's extremely important for coding interviews. Let's build something slightly more realistic. We'll make a function that calculates the area of a rectangle. Here's the code. Now we can call the function. Here's the code to call the function and to print out the value it returns. When we run this code, we call the function with the values of 10 and 5 passed in for A and B. We get the output, area is 50. Now imagine this inside a bigger program. You can reuse this function anywhere. That's the power of functions. So why do functions matter? Functions reduce repetition, make code cleaner, make debugging easier, make code testable, and are heavily used in coding interviews. Every LeetCode problem you solve is basically writing a function. Understanding this deeply will level up your programming. What are common beginner mistakes when it comes to functions? One is forgetting parentheses when calling the function. 2 is forgetting to return a value. 3 is mixing up print and return. 4 is incorrect indentation. And 5 is passing the wrong number of arguments. If you master those 5 things, you're ahead of most beginners. So today you learned the keyword def defines a function. Parentheses hold parameters. You must call a function to run it. Return sends values back, and print is not the same as return. If you understand this, you understand functions in Python. If you're serious about becoming a software engineer, you need to master fundamentals like this. Alright, that's it for today's video. Please like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future uploads.